Hello, viewers, and welcome to this podcast by MCX. Trust is the new ticker. MCX is India's largest commodity exchange with more than 98% market share and is the world's largest commodity options exchange. It's indeed a pleasure to connect with you today, and today I will take you to the behind the scenes of what happens at MCX, inside the engine room, markets, machines, and the mindsets. So, the people, the hardware, the technology, and how it all connects with your trades and the settlement of those trades. So it'll be a very exciting discussion because today we have with us three unique gentlemen. First, we have with us Sunil Batra, CTO MCX. We also have Anil Verma, CTO MCXCCL, which is the clearing corporation of MCX. And we have with us Sougat Ghosh, who's the Chief Information Security Officer at MCX. So looking forward to some very good thoughts being shared with you, and hope this makes your journey of trading at MCX more exciting. You can trade with more trust, now further understanding what happens when you trade at MCX and how it all comes together to give you that unique experience of trading with trust. We'll start with the Chief Technology Officer of MCX, Mr. Sunil Batra. Thanks for joining us today, Sunil. It's really a pleasure to have you here. So, to kick off, I would like to ask you that MCX today is India's leading commodity exchange with more than 98% market share. And while maintaining that market share is a task, but also delivering on that market share is no less a task. So, how do you ensure that at MCX you ensure total market uptime, system reliability, and low latency trading, because everyone wants results in a click of a button?
Thanks, Rishi. Hello, everyone. I think market uptime, as you talked about, is I think one of the basic requirements for the industry today. We are in today's day and age. It's very important to make sure systems are available round the clock as and when the market is needing. So while availability might seem to be a simple task, but it takes a lot of effort to make sure you are able to build the infrastructure that gives you continuous availability and uptime. So talking about the entire infrastructure components, starting from network, servers, storage, application software, system software, each of these components need to be designed and made or deployed in a resilient mode. Every single component needs to have a backup, redundancy available, so that in case of a failover, we are able to move, because technology is bound to fail at some point in time. So all we need to do is to make sure every single component that is deployed in the entire chain has resiliency built in it. So there are two parts to it. One is resiliency by design. When you design the architecture, you make sure that every component is having a backup. There is no single point of failure. But it's also equally important to make sure it is tested well. While there are a lot of times when you design something properly, but while you are actually facing an issue, you feel that the backup server did not come up. So it's equally important that periodically we should test each and every component to make sure any unforeseen issue you are able to actually make up or keep the application up and running without any downtime to the market. That is just summarizing on how do we make sure uptime. On the reliability and scalability, yes, I think exchange has seen a huge volume growth in last couple of years. Plus, one other important thing to note is that MCX operates from morning 9 to night 11:30, so which is almost 14 and a half hours of operation on every single day. So, making sure our system is designed to be resilient and scalable. We need to know that the business demand is going to grow based on what we have seen in the last 2 years. Make sure we have built-in capability to expand vertically and horizontally, so that we are able to take care of the scalability requirements as they arise.
So, Sunil, for our viewers, exchange is an enigma behind the scenes. So what you see is the trading terminal. What happens behind the scenes? Can you break it down simply for our viewers as to what are the parts, what are the processes that one would go through from the minute they punch an order till the time that their order gets processed and then moves on for clearing and settlement? So just briefly.
So on a high level, the movement, if I take an example of a member where a trade is getting or an order is getting initiated, the order travels from the member end to the exchange through network links. it lands up at MCX infrastructure in terms of the network. It goes through various network components, it goes through various security components before it actually lands up to the application. We have firewalls, routers, switches, WAF, all those components come into play before the actual order hits to exchange to make sure we are getting only valid set of orders, and any invalid order coming from an unknown source actually is terminated at any of these locations. Once the order comes in, it's important for us to make sure we give fair and equitable access to all the members. So once the order comes in, we have a set of gateway servers which receive the orders, and they are then processed by the matching engine, which does the price time matching, and the response is being sent back to the members. So largely that's how the entire component-wise breakup works in the entire trade and order process.
So that's a sneak peek into the behind the scenes of what makes the largest commodity exchange in India tick. So from the terminal, from when you press an order, then it goes through the network lines or the lease lines to the exchange servers, and then there are a lot of checks, pre-authorization checks, post-trade checks, etc., till it goes into clearing. Am I right, Sunil?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. So now, coming to my next question is that when we trade, so how do you match the trades? What is the speed at which they happen? What happens on days when there are a lot of trades, a lot of volatility? How do you manage that? Do you have capacity to manage a black swan event day when there are a lot of trades? How do you disseminate the prices to make sure that everything happens without any delays or lags, so that the market participants are aware of the exact market price in a live way?
So I'll answer that in 2 or 3 parts. One is coming to the scalability of the system to handle more orders or more transactions that may come on any volatility day. So I think the way we have designed our infrastructure is basically horizontally scalable, and we are able to kind of predict the volumes based on the historic trends. So we have a system that is designed to handle over 2 lakh order per second, whereas in today's peak what we have seen is around 90,000. So we already have more than double headroom. But yes, we are not waiting. We are trying to continuously look at how do we scale this further. And again, scalability, like I talked about the various components, scalability also has to be looked at every single component level. Any single component in the entire chain, if it is not able to scale, that means you will not be able to get the end-to-end OPS and TPS that is required.
And what is OPS and TPS?
Order per second is what is called as OPS. We have system which is designed to run over 2 lakh order per second. And what we have actually seen is over around 90,000 orders per second. While we have tested much larger volumes, but in production these are numbers we have seen.
And TPS is trade per second?
TPS is trade per second. We have seen around 30,500 trades per second getting processed. That is how our system is designed to process.
So what you're telling me, if I understand correctly, Sunil, and for the benefit of our viewers, is that from when you press the button to when you get your trade confirmation, it just takes a few microseconds. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's amazing. So that is what happens behind the scenes when you trade. Now coming to the other part of the trade, which is also equally important, is the settlement of those trades. So when you trade, you just put in your order, there are margins, etc. But who does your margining? Who does your pay in and pay out? If you make money, who do you receive it from? If you owe money, who do you pay it to? If you want delivery of commodities, how do you get them? So that is handled by the MCX Clearing Corporation. And today we are fortunate to have Mr. Anil Verma, the CTO of MCX Clearing Corporation Limited. So welcome Anil on this podcast.
Thank you, Rishi.
So taking forward from what we discussed with Sunil, I would also like to ask you that what is the behind the scenes that is happening in the clearing corporation, because MCX still has a front end and a back end, but MCX Clearing Corporation would have the entire back end. So you are working behind the scenes around the clock to make things happen. And would you also like to share that your work starts once MCX work ends, and you have to sort everything out before the next day starts. So basically you have from midnight till next morning 9 before the market opens. So in those 9.5 hours, what do you do? How do you do it? And how do you make sure that it's a well-oiled engine?
Thanks, Rishi. So I'll just start from where the Sunil has just left. Order comes, matched in the system, actually becomes a trade. And the trade what gets settled in the clearing system. So right from the order to trade, there are multiple components involved in the system. So first thing we do is the risk management. So every trade which comes to our system, we do risk check. Right now the risk check happens for post trade. Okay. So trade executed and the risk check happens. But when the member goes into, let's say, margin utilization, about 90%, we call it a risk reduction mode. We need to check every order before making it, let's say, confirmed for trade executions. So the first activity in the whole process is a risk check. Risk check ensures that there is no issue with the members going out of the margin requirements and ensuring that the trades are under the margin requirement given by the members and they have sufficient collateral with them. We take it for the processing into the clearing system. So that's where we do trade settlements. So trade settlement involves is an offline process on multiple legs of activity. So there could be a trade which could be linked to a delivery or a cash settled trades. So if it is a cash settled trades, then we do basically settling the trade at the end of the day as a part of our daily EOD process, which is the generating our members' obligations, generating paying payouts for the members, and then balancing out the trades. But if it is a delivery linked, then there is a period defined when people, basically members, both buyers and the sellers side of it, there is a delivery intentions are given that seller is willing to give the delivery out from the various warehouses we have all over the India. So we have more than 60 plus warehouses across the India, and where various deposits of the goods happens for its metals and some of the agri products like cotton, mentha. But then the bullions, of course, we have bullions. So the members can do a delivery-based settlement whereby the delivery they can take it from the respective delivery centers. So this is what happened behind the scene in the clearing and settlement system, where we daily basis do a mark-to-market price computation for the members, and basis that there is a pay-in payout generated for both buyers and the sellers at the end of the day, and then accordingly it gets settled through their banks, through our clearing members.
So just to summarize, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anil, for the benefit of our viewers to make it simpler to understand, is that first you have to give a margin to trade. And when you give that margin to trade, while Sunil enables the trade, but you give the green signal after the trade is done that there is sufficient margin available so that the trade can then go on for settlement. Thereafter, based on the movement of the price during the day, if it is in my favor, I will get a payout in the next day. If it is against me, I'll have to put in more money to maintain my positions. At the end of the settlement period, if I choose to give or take delivery, then I have to again go through the clearing corporation mechanism through its warehouse and infrastructure and the bullion vault infrastructure to deliver or take delivery. This has been truly a unique discussion till now, and thanks Sunil for this. And Anil, we will continue our discussions in the next episode with you and then move on to Sougat. And I believe viewers, stay tuned because there's a lot more coming up and there's a lot more for you to learn and understand so that you know how the exchange works and it gives you more confidence to trade with trust at MCX.